Hello friends, this is part 37 of Angular 14 series, and in this session we'll discuss about that control value accessor along with the validator. Okay, so in my previous session I already discussed how do we create or how do we design a custom component so that it will be reusable for any other component. Okay, so let me go inside the code. So now let me open the browser first. So here I have created one component only. That component sometimes is acting as single selection customer, and sometimes also it is working as suggestion list. Okay, so for that what I have done, so I'm just reading the type from parent, what kind of select you are going to use. So based on that select type, so here I'm just used on ng switch. If the type is coming select, so by default would be select one, and if they're passing, consumer is passing as autocomplete, I want the suggestion part. So then then this customer select would react as thus auto suggestion part. So this is from Angular material, that was auto suggestion part I have been used here, and this part already discussed in my earlier session. So if you are newer in this session, please go through my previous session for this autocomplete, or also you can go through from Google material. So last time we discussed about this on change, register on change method, or you can say interface method. So here whenever we are changing any value, that value should be reflected inside this model, whatever model we are passing from the parent. Okay, so that is why we use this register on change method. But this time we'll discuss about this write value, register on changed, untouched and disable state. Okay, so before discuss that part, let me create quickly three variable. Let is called on on change, on touched, and also the write value untouched. Okay, so let me remove that, and this method I'm just registering here with the coming anonymous function. Okay, and now let me go to that filter part. Here I just added one reference, and let me check what UCHD touched. Okay, now let's save this form, and here by default false. So whenever I changed any value, that time see this state is not going to change, right, even though I'm changing the value. So what I need to do here, so I have registered untouched anonymous function, but this function is not called up yet. Okay, so whenever my intention to be, whenever change any of the value from this drop down, I'm going to change this state. Okay, so for that reason here sorry, let me call this method and go to the browser, and now if I change anything, see the state is getting changed. Okay, so this way in this place we can use this untouched method. Okay, now second is disable state. Now let me add here, so let me remove this required first. Disabled, this attribute I have added, so which means we are expecting this control to be disabled, right? So but here it is not working. So why? Because this control value accessor actually whenever let me show you one more thing here. So let me put one debugger here, set disable state, and do refresh. See here is disabled is coming true, because we are passing the disabled property there, attribute. And if we don't pass this, now see no is disabled, or that lifecycle hook is not firing. Okay, now moment I use this disabled attribute, that lifecycle hook will fire. See, that is firing, right? Now what I need to do to disable the control, we need to use that attribute here, and we need to pass the value as well. Okay, and this disabled property I need to use here, maybe on public, and will be boolean, and by default would be false. So here I'm going to assign that. Forget. Now let's save this change and go to the browser. Remove the debugger here. See, now got disabled, right? If I remove from parent, that it will be enabled. Okay, so now that is working, and this is how we are going to use this disabled state lifecycle hook. But here this is a sample simple logic, but you can write your own custom logic to disable the control based on your requirement. Okay, now next thing is this write value. Okay, now imagine I'm going to pass one value from this model. Okay, let's say I'm passing value, let's say 149. Okay, this is my let's say saved customer name. So whenever I will pass this name, so the drop down should be selected with this name. Okay, here see, that is not coming. Now let me put debugger here inside this write value and refresh the page. See, first time is coming as null. Now next time is coming sample 149, as you can see here, right? And next time for that next control coming 148. Okay, so this way. So what I need to do here, go to our custom component, and here basically I will write that my custom component model will be assigned this obj, and this is obviously first time will be coming as null and then only coming with the proper value. Okay, so that is why that is the reason I'm just going to put that condition here. If the value is valid, is then only assign this, otherwise not. Okay, now see, that value got selected automatically. Okay, so this is the reason we are going to use that write value method from the control value accessor interface. And if I mouse over on this, so this is also telling clearly, like this method is called by the forms API to write to the view when programmatic changes from model to view are requested, which means whenever we request any model value to this view, I mean to this component view, so that time only this write value lifecycle hook will fire. Okay, now I guess you have a clear picture about these lifecycle hooks from control value accessor. Okay, now next thing is, as I discussed, we need to talk about also the validation part. Let's say required here, I mean required, if I use the required attribute from the HTML5 validation part, so that also should support our custom model. Okay, now as I added here required, okay, let's say here I'm going to check errors with, I'm just wanted to print the object, that is why I'm using that pipe as JSON. And here this custom control reference is having errors or not, let me check. Okay, now open the browser. See, first time is going to coming as null, and if I do anything and if I put this here, it is coming, see, required is coming. Okay, and also that a button state also getting changed, as because right, this form, this button inside this form, and this form is having that invalid property, I am decorated with that disabled attribute. So which means HTML5 validation also is working as expected. Okay, but sometimes just think about this. If I put something like this and if I click outside, I mean moment I leave this control, system should tell me this name does not exist inside this list, which means invalid customer you typed. Okay, let's say something, I'm typing something and leaving this control, so it should be, it should show, this control should show invalid customer. So in that scenario, such kind of custom validation, such kind of custom validation we need to implement. So to achieve that, what we need to do, Angular also is providing another interface that is called validator, and this control also this interface we can use anywhere, like inside the directive, inside the component, and so on. Okay, so next time also I'm going to show you how to validate each control with the help of directive. Okay, so this time let me implement this validator, and moment I implemented that validator interface, controller that interface actually providing us two method, validate and register on validator change. Okay, so this validator basically for custom validation. Okay, if your custom component going to implement any custom validation over here. Okay, so here what I need to do, first of all let me return as null. So now I haven't write any logic here, just now I just added. Okay, and also to make it workable here I need to register the same way as we register for ng value accessor. So here ng validators, and just to do save this change, and let me select with this that control, it is coming with that HTML5, but moment I do any changes here it is not coming, nothing. Okay, so let me also print something here for another control, for this control, and here also let me put the reference, and here I'm just going to do, okay, now just save this change. Here as you can see by default is coming null, nothing. Here if I put something, that is also coming null. So let me write the custom validation logic here. So I need to check to make it workable. What I need to do, I'm just going to use another private property which is called customers, and this would be definitely I customer array, by default would be empty array, and here I'm just checking whether that customer is having my coming customer name or not. C dot cost name, it would be my control or component model. If the find index is coming as less than 0, which means -1, so whenever -1 it will throw you, so which means it will have in customers array not able to find out your customer, whatever you are passing from parent. So in this scenario, invalid customer, here I will pass as true. Okay, so this logic I have written. Now let's save this change and check. Now here whenever I'm just changing something, okay, but that validate method is not firing. So if I put a debugger first time and refresh the page, first time it is firing for both control. Okay, now moment I changing anything, okay, sorry, moment I change anything here, it is coming let's say customer. If I check this, okay, let me refresh. Okay, so if I check this customer, what is there, the empty array, right? Empty array, that is why not going inside that condition and it is coming as null. So that is why no validation, always coming null. But here, so this customer, as we assigned the empty array, so nowhere else we have assigned the list of customer which is coming from the database. So for that, okay, so for that, what I need to do here, I will write one private method. Let's say get customers, and this one I'm going to use this one. Just imagine, so maybe in network, sometimes it will take, see this pending, but before getting this customer list, this control got initialized, right, with that value, even though that list not coming, whenever the value is initializing. So in that time I won't have any customers list, right? So what I need to do, I need to convert this observable with the promise. Okay, so somebody was asking in a comment, so when actually we are going to use async, you know that keyword and await, and when or not. Okay, so that is the reason I'm actually going, I mean in this example, that I'm just going to give you the answer. Okay, okay, let me check that customers, and okay, so last value from this operator. Okay, I mean using with the help of this method from RxJS, I can pass this customer observable. So basically, if you want to extract the exact value from an observable with the help of RxJS, we should use this last value from this method, and if I mouse over on this method, it is returning an promise. Okay, so it is returning promise of iCustomer array, because this observable is type of iCustomer array. So here just, and basically here actually it is not returning. If I return this customers, and sorry, return and mouse over, so now it is returning promise of this. Okay, and moment I use moment I put a debugger, let me show you. Just save this change and go to the browser, put a debugger inside the method. Where is that? Here. Just refresh the page. See, this is returning a promise. Okay, so if you really want to get out of this promise, what you need to do, you need to basically use this then, and then we need to pass, suppose let's say C, and this C is will be customers list, but I don't want that chain. Okay, I don't want that promise chain. So for that reason, what I need to do, I need to use that await. Okay, and this await, whenever you use the await keyword, that await I mean basically wants the async, I mean method should be async. Okay, so now I have added, and which means, so this method, actually this line of code will wait until the customer list not coming from the database. Okay, and then only this line will be executed. Let's prove it. Now refresh the page. See, here I can see list of customers. Okay, so now moment I again see, sometimes takes, and then only I am having that customers list, right? So now I guess you got to know why actually and when we are going to use the await along with the async. Now here I will assign my list of customers here, customers, and basically this is not required, not able, I mean I don't want to return this. Now here save this change, and here I can see the list of customers coming. Now let me put a debugger in that validate method. I can see okay, so let me just check whether that customer here, it's not updated yet, not updated yet, because this validate method will fire first before this method, I mean before initializing these customers. Okay, now let's prove that. If I put debugger here in this line, and I already added that debugger there, now refresh the page once. See, first it is triggering here. Now once that is finished, now again it will trigger here because it is taking some time. Okay, now here what I need to do, after changing the, sorry, what is there, remove all the debugger. Let me put here. Okay, after change something here, so moment I change any, and there the validate method is firing, and here I can see now, if I check whether that customers, yes, that customers also coming, and here it will be validated, and the much customer name, this one. Okay, it should not be the case. Let me check what value actually returning. Yes, that is coming -1, and here, oh sorry, I didn't return it. Okay, I should return it. Now remove the debugger from here, it should work. Okay, now see that invalid customer, it is returning as true. Okay, why? Because first time, as I told you, first time this one will fire, and then only that customer will be updated with that property customers. Now we need to take care about this. What I need to check, let me check one more condition here. If the customers is having proper length, it means at least one customer, then only that method will fire. And then if I type something, see, moment I type, that invalid customer name is coming. Okay, now moment I remove that, yes, that is also coming as null, and button also getting enabled. Okay, so this way we can use the custom validation for the custom component with the help of the validator interface. Okay, so now I guess you are aware all of the things for that interface, validator, and control value accessor. So now let me check with the form group instead of the model. Okay, now here basically I will use ng form group. Here form control name, and I'm going to pass my form control name here, and this is not required at all, and this one also let me change quickly, and this one with 2. Okay, now let's save this change. Here basically I've added this form reference, but here instead of that I'll use this part and remove this. Okay, that is working, and if I change something here, that is also working. Now let me change any value 145, and moment I click on this filter button, whether that updated value coming from this custom component or not, let me check. Here I just printed it customer form with that raw value. Now just click on filter. Here you can see customer 1 150 got selected, and customer 2 is 145. That value also is coming. Okay, now remove that part. Yes, so everything is working fine. So this way we can use our custom control for our project. And if you are not using the Angular material, then you can create small component for, let's say, email validation, phone number validation, and date of birth validation, so on. And for that you can use like you can create this way component, and you can keep those components at a shared component, and you can use in your project. Okay, so here this way we can also customize in other way, let's say if I type something, customer will be filtered, and also that multi-selection customer also to be there, as Angular also is providing. Whatever you want, you can customize with the help of this approach. Okay, still if you have any other question, please write your comment in the comment box so that I can help you properly. Okay, so that's all for the day, and thanks for listening. Have a great day.